Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and back with passion. So today's video is on several confusions in the Waltons. This is kind of a theme this week. I'm doing things in the Waltons that don't necessarily make sense. And besides parts of the house not making sense to the Waltons, several things in the Waltons don't make sense just based on timelines of stuff. So one of the things that doesn't really make sense is Reckless and Chance, that's the cow's name. And with Reckless, it's Reckless's gender. So for the first few seasons, Reckless is a guy, but then Reckless is a girl. Now, of course, there is a reason behind this, and the reason is because they have different dogs playing Reckless at different times. So for the first few seasons, Reckless is played by a male, but the second half of the season, Reckless is played by a female. So it just made more sense that they call Reckless based on the gender of the dog that was playing her. But in reality, it doesn't actually make sense to us in watching the TV show, because we notice these. Well, I do, even though we're not supposed to. And what is this? Why do I have it? And with Chance, there's a couple scenes. So first of all was when Chance has her calf Bullet, and then Chance gets sick, and then Chance has another. They get a different Chance who has another calf. So if you've seen the ones, you know that Chance in the first season has a calf with the name Bullet, who is eventually sold but then bought back. But in the season 2 episode, The Graduation, Chance gets sick and eventually dies, which then they then borrow milk from a neighbor until they eventually buy another cow, which they coincidentally also name Chance, who has a calf in a later episode who they named Diamond or Dynamite or something like that. Of course, they mention that Chance got sick and had a calf before. But the problem with this is that was a different Chance. This might just be a case of the Walton black hole, where things have gone into information has gone to a black hole and writers have forgotten that. And again, we're not supposed to know these things, but we pick up on them. Another thing that I notice, is that shouldn't necessarily there is the ages. The ages of the kids, the first season is quite consistent because we have a standard timeline, so we know exactly what the ages are, and we can usually tell how many years are apart from each child, also based off of the graduations in the late seasons. But after season 1, they start doing 1 to sometimes even 3 years in a season, so then it gets very confusing on how old they are, because they're not as old as they should be in that season or that year, because the years changed throughout the season, but they kept them the same age the entire season. So Jason's like 21 for all of season 5 or 6, when in reality he should be older in the last bit. This is very confusing, and it's, I advise you, don't waste your time trying to figure out the ages of the Waltons, because you'll never get there. You'll never find it. It's just hard, impossible. Of course, with the ages, there are a few times you are able to tell because of certain things, like, they graduates have to be at least 17, maybe 18, but other times it's still very confusing about what age they are. Another thing that's very confusing is the age difference between Aaron and Ben. Sometimes it's hard to tell who's older, Aaron or Ben. Is Ben older or is Aaron older? We don't actually really know this, because Aaron actually looks younger than Ben up until season 5 in the episode Career Girl, where Aaron has graduated, and then halfway between season 5 and 6, Ben has graduated. Now, of course, the issue behind this is, well, not really an issue, but the reason behind this is because Eric Scott, who plays Ben, is the same age as Judy Norton-Taylor, who plays Mary Ellen. Which means that because Eric Scott and Judy Norton-Taylor are the same age, and Mary Beth McDonough is younger than both of them, it looks like Ben is older, and sometimes feels like Ben is older, but he's not. He's actually one of the younger three. Although the same can be said about Jim Bob because he is the same age as my Beth McDonough. David W. Harper is. And another one of the things very confusing, probably one of the most confusing things in the Waltons, is the timeline. After season 1, the timeline just disappears, and because the first season we know it's 1933. But after that, they do sometimes 2 to 3 seasons in a year, and they'll jump back and forth between years throughout the season, so it's hard to tell what year it is. But if they did consistently go through every single year like they should, season 2 would be 1934, season 3 would be 1935, 4 would be 36, 5 would be 37, 6 would be 38, 7 would be 39, 8 would be 40, and 9 would be 41. Which means they wouldn't get into the World War II stuff until 1941, and there probably would have been a lot more seasons, so it makes sense that they did do more than one year per season, so they could get to the World War II stuff a lot quicker, but it's just confusing. So I'm going to put this video, show this video a like, subscribe, hit the notification button for the next video, which is going to be a Cup of Clash video, and it'll probably be this evening, maybe tomorrow. Hopefully this evening, though. Okay, see you.